Welcome and good day, everyone. We, of course, are glad you guys could join us here for another Talk It Over. We are, of course, so excited that we get to do this each and every week. Of course, is a lot of fun, and we do have a lot of fun with it. Maybe even let us know today. If you guys are here with us, leave something in the chat. Let us know you were kind of a part of what we were doing here. We'd love to hear from you. And, of course, it would be a lot of fun to connect. Before we dive into week 4 of our message on, I'm blanking. Think ahead. Wow. Yeah. I'm not thinking ahead. I didn't think ahead, just thinking out ahead. Anyway, so before we get into our part of the message today, how have your weeks been? How they've been going? Anything new and exciting? I know for us, we'll have fairly a similar, I think, perception of what the week was. Mm-hmm. But for you, Carolyn, was something new and exciting for you?
Oh, new and exciting. Well, no hospital runs. That was great for this week.
It's always good. Yeah,
it's always good when you don't have to do a hospital run. This week was pretty a typical week, which was kind of nice. Turning into March, which the kids were getting very excited for March break. Yes. So when you work in pediatrics, there's a lot of energy coming through that door, and a lot of exhausted looking parents. So I know it was a good week, just getting into work and seeing some kids and home life. I'm still working on painting. Yeah. So maybe by the end of this week, it
is looking good.
We're getting there.
It's getting there. Yeah. Looking good.
Kitchens take a long time. There's a lot of cutting in a kitchen.
Yeah, lots of things to maneuver around in a kitchen. Yeah, definitely.
And contortionists, right?
Yes. Yeah. I think we should put Emmett, just lay him on the counter. Just tape everything and just let him go. He'll he'd do it. He'd be all right. Yep. How about for you?
My week was good. Crazy, though. Work was really busy, and then Emmett was also sick, and so we got to do the hospital run this week, but where he was able to get some antibiotics, which kicked whatever he had in the butt real quick, which was really good. So he's feeling lots better and back to normal life now, which I'm so thankful for, and glad that it was just a simple fix as well. It was also our birthdays this past week, and so we didn't really have any big plans to celebrate or anything, but we were able to go out for dinner last night, and we have plans this coming week to go see a movie. So it'll be fun.
Yeah, it definitely would have been great to have a very sick boy over March break.
No.
That would have been a whole lot of fun. Yeah. So it's kind of good to see that antibiotics and not getting stuff worked out, and seeing him in much better shape. So yeah, and our birthdays were this week, and nothing big, but dinner was great last night. Really enjoyed that. So, and it's always nice to just have a quiet house. Like it's not, I love my son. He's a great kid, but not having all the questions all the time.
It's nice to have a break once in a while.
It's nice to have that break where it can just be a little bit quiet, and you can just kind of sit and it's just quiet. It is nice. So having that break for a night was really nice, and but kind of excited to see him again, how he's doing, and I'm sure he's going to tell us all about his sleepover and how that went, and so we'll get the whole scoop from him, I'm sure, very shortly. So in our message series, Think Ahead, week 4, we are in No More Fake News. And of course, in this time, we tend to get a lot of fake news all around us, unfortunately. So yeah, good message. Sam was our pastor today who actually brought the message. Did a great job, and really, really enjoyed it. Our scripture today comes from John 8:32. And I'm going to get Leanne to read it for us this week.
Sure. And you will know the truth, and the truth will set you free.
That's very powerful. Very powerful. Knowing the truth can set you free. It's just, I don't know. There's something about that just really resonates, I guess, with knowing the truth and what that can do to set you free. So really, really like that. All right. So our first question here, which could tie into maybe some of this week for us. If you were to write a headline about your life this week, what would it say? Headlines are hard because there's a lot of things that you can start thinking about, right? Yeah, what's that sound like? And what was my week?
Yeah.
It really can get you thinking.
I feel like mine, I don't know, something about my birthday, like, but I don't know, or like thermometer sees excessive use, like, because we used it a lot this week, just with fevers.
Yep. Oh man. I think for me, mine would be Crazy Coaster. And starting out the week, we're getting into, birthdays. Mine's first, then Leanne's. And on my birthday, I get a message from my dad that he's taking my mom to the hospital. So that was kind of goes from, it's birthday to now we're parents going into the hospital. Mm-hmm. And then still kind of on that bit of that roller coaster. Then Emmett spikes a fever. So all of a sudden we're back roller coastering the other way.
We're going to the hospital.
Going to the hospital. You're taking him to the hospital on your birthday. So we're like high and low. And then my parents have to go back to the hospital. And it's just been, I feel it's just been a roller coaster of a week. And unfortunately, it was on a week that we generally celebrate and have a lot of fun. It's been just kind of up and down. But we did get to enjoy.
We'll get to have lots of fun this week.
This week should be a bit more fun.
Yeah.
So I'll have to maybe I'll come back next week with a different title.
Yeah.
I think for me, I keep thinking of when I was a kid, we used to watch sports on the weekend, and there used to be this tagline, thrill of victory and the agony of defeat.
Ooh.
Yes. And just those moments this week as juggling the different needs of being a business owner and family life and working with families with kids with disabilities. You just see the realities of some people's lives that a lot of people don't even get an idea that is even happening. So just feeling really kind of like it wasn't a roller coaster. There were some really good highs, but then there's also some really good lows. And then the lows are often because I don't manage my stress well when I'm feeling overwhelmed. So need to do better at that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I don't know what that looks like for you guys, but maybe let us know in the chat. Maybe what was your headline? Maybe you had just a very, boring week. Nothing exciting, nothing drastic, but nothing, crazy exciting. Yep. Or maybe it was like some of ours, a bit more roller coaster, or you were rushing to things, whatever that might be. Just let us know what that headline might be for you guys. All right, so we're going to read John 8:32 again. All right. So, and you will know the truth, and the truth will set you free. With that in mind, what is the truth that this verse is talking about? And what are some ways you could seek this truth more intentionally?
I think it's talking about the truth of God's love and who he says we are. Because it's so easy to fall into the trap of who society says that we are.
Yep.
Like we don't measure up, or we're not enough. We're not good enough, smart enough, thin enough, pretty enough, connected enough. Like there's so many things that we just can't measure up to. But God's truth is that we are loved and that we are accepted and we are cared for, and he loves us more than we could even imagine. And he will provide for us. And there's so much truth in that and so much peace within that we don't have to worry because he's got us. But it's kind of like your heart can know it and your head can know it, but your heart and your head need to connect.
Yeah, you can know it, but it's not like in you, right?
Yeah. So like this past week, there were times where, especially like I'm at sick, what do we do? But it's like my head knew, okay, well, God's got the answers. He knows what's going on. I don't have to worry about it. But then my heart was like, no, I still have to worry about this. And there were times where I just had to stop myself and be like, no, Leanne, God loves you. And like my head had to tell my heart, God loves me. I am cared for. He loves my son. I am looked after. Mm-hmm. He's got this. We're going to be okay. And so then when I started actually believing those things, then I started to feel more peace and at ease and more confident in my decisions of when do we go to the hospital? When do we call the doctors? When do we get concerned? When do we do what we know we need to do?
Yeah, kind of Sam touched on that with the with Nicodemus, you know,
Yeah.
he knew what he knew, but didn't like live that out, like it
Right.
wasn't in him. Yeah, there's certainly times that does happen where you know God's got it, but you're like, does he really? Maybe I need to manage this. Maybe
Yeah.
right? Maybe I need to just intervene.
Yes.
Right? Yeah, I definitely hear that. Definitely hear that. The truth will set you free.
I think for me this week, part of that truth was reminding myself that it's okay that I'm not perfect, and it's okay that I don't have it all together, and I'm okay that I don't always measure up. I've hit the point in our business where I've been doing it long enough now that some of the kids are making gains, which is fantastic, but now I have to rethink and recharge, and now what? And what programming do I need to look at, and what new things do I need to do? And sometimes that's exhausting for me. And being a primarily sole practitioner, so thankful to that. I have a partner right now who's part-time, but a lot of times I'm doing it myself as an OT. Those reminders of, okay, God, I don't have to have it all together. You're going to prompt me or lead me to the next thing, or I can ask for your help. And just the weight of that opposed to I have to be enough, right? Like it's not like God's going to fill that difference, and it's just being obedient to that. And then remind myself too, like I said, the stress part of it is when you have that idea that I have to get it right and I need to put it all together, then the stress can point, and then I can be grumpy. And usually I'm grumpy with my family, which they're all nodding their heads. Yes, that's very true. And just being reminded of like, that can't keep being my habit. My family deserves my best, not my worst. And so how do I manage that differently?
Yeah, I'm reading through The Power to Change, which is actually Craig's book that he wrote about a year ago. It does a message series on it, similar but different to Think Ahead, and just creating healthier habits in your life. And so, yeah, I've been learning a lot about like, when I'm stressed, I do the same. I get grumpy, and I'm not a very nice person to be around sometimes. But just creating better, healthy habits and looking at my life to be like, okay, what do I need to cut out? What do I need to add in to be able to create those healthy habits?
Yeah, I think, I don't know, it seems to me like talking about the truth. And I think the truth is that we're loved and forgiven. And I think that's kind of what, at least to me, that's kind of what that's saying to me. Because once we know we're loved and we're forgiven, that can really set us free from what's holding us down. So things, you know, the sinful things, the wrongful desires, the chasing after false things. I think once we realize that, no, we are loved, we are forgiven, and God's got us. I think that's really the big piece to that. Because if we're not seeking God, we're not seeking what he has for us, which then leads us into the wrong directions. And so seeking after, you know, his love, I think, is a big part of that. In that he loves us no matter what. We mess up, he still loves us. The love doesn't stop. And yeah, I think it's just continuing to seek after him in just more, maybe, not emotion, I'm trying to think of the word, but more intimate ways. So spending time in his word, and praying, and just even that ongoing conversation throughout the day, just helps us to draw closer to him, which continues to help set us free from the things that hold us back, or the things that we're holding on to can help us maybe release some of those. And allow that burden to be carried. So I think that's, to me, that's kind of what it's speaking about, is about that, and it can set you free. But the truth can be a lot of things. It's not just like one set thing, right? And I think that's what makes that verse very unique, is because knowing the truth, and the truth will set you free. It just, you got to know the truth about what God says about you, not what, as you said, what the world says about you. Okay, so with this in mind, what kind of person do you want to be 1 year from now? How do you need to change the way you view yourself in order to be that person? We kind of touched a little bit on that, But what does that look like from a year from now? So maybe we should do like a recap in a year. See where we are.
Yeah.
See where we are. We'll do a recap.
Which will be easy
Yeah.
because it'll be after your birthday.
Exactly.
So-
Right.
Yeah.
We'll do a recap.
I think for me, it's going back to regardless of circumstances, I have a genuine peace and knowledge of God's truth to know that it doesn't matter about my circumstances or what things are like, that God is in the mess or the successes, and not let it affect my mood so much. I love my life group, and we've had some really great discussions, and I think all of us are recognizing that for the majority, we're very led by our feelings and how feelings are a gauge, but they're not necessarily true. And as a feeler, we like to walk around thinking, well, my feelings are true. No, my feelings are valid, but they're not always true. Just because I feel that doesn't mean it's true. So I think I'm so still, after so many years, so led by my feelings of I'm hurt or I'm discouraged or I'm sad or whatever that is, and then that dictates truth, and that's not the case, because then you see your circumstances in the really wrong way. And that's usually when God surrounds us with partners who are very thinker and more logical, which sometimes I can react to that because I want my feelings validated. And just being less feeling led is where I'd really like to go. And not thinking I need to have all the answers to make me feel calm. Living in the unknown is okay because God knows.
Yeah. You want to feel led, but not led by feelings. Is that kind of...
Yeah, like... No, I actually think I need to live by truth of God's word, not led by my feelings. I need to be led by God's truth. Like, I've got this, and you don't, it doesn't matter whether you feel it or not. And I think I want the feeling with the knowledge, and I need to live the knowledge and recognize the feelings. So to be honest, since we're talking about being truthful, it's the whole idea that I need to acknowledge where I'm at with my feelings, but not let my feelings dictate how I respond or live. Right? And I think as a feeler, too often I want to live out the knowledge, but I don't have a way to rectify the feelings that I'm feeling unstable. And so I need to be saying, I know this isn't true. I'm feeling this way, but I know God, it's a biology. I heard that years ago at a conference we went to, and like, I was blind, but now I can see. I was lame, but now I can walk. I need to bring in those biologies into my life, acknowledge the limitations I'm feeling, but know that God's doing something in it.
Yeah, that makes sense.
I'm just not there yet.
Little baby steps, right? It's all little steps. You make your way forward, right? It's not the one giant leap. I know I try to live by the baby steps because doing the leaps just doesn't seem to work. It can work for a little bit because you're trying to do it yourself, but it's only for a short period, right? It doesn't last, like it's not sustaining, I guess, in that sense.
No, and it goes back to habits, right? Which Leanne, you're talking about with power to change, right? If you don't have that habit in, then
you're not.
And if you don't keep that habit, then you slide, right? So like we talked about last week, pilers unite. Sorry, Leanne. But that's a really not a good habit. When you want to honor your partner who is overwhelmed by it. And poor Dave, 30 years later, still living with a piler.
A little bit better, right?
Look what you get to look forward to.
I need to change that, right?
Yeah. And I think in Power to Change, I just read this last night, so it's top of mind for me. But Craig explains that like you need to have some habit stacking. And he says, like, do one thing a day to, like, build on that habit, but keep it small. So if you drink coffee or tea in the morning, pray while you drink say a one-sentence prayer while you drink your coffee or tea. Or if you want to do more exercise, do a 2-minute walk around the block. Don't expect yourself to go the 5K every day because you're not going to hit it. You need to build it up, or do one push-up if the 2-minute walk is too much or it's raining. gross weather.
Yeah, it's
Right.
baby steps.
Do baby steps, yeah, or don't just try to get there. And I think Carolyn, I can get into the whole I'm led by my feelings and stuck. And the one thing I was shown is a feelings wheel, and talking about how our feelings, they're all connected, but then in the feelings wheel, it starts very vague on the outside, and then as it gets more specific as you go internally. And so I found just working through a feelings wheel once in a while, or even sometimes once a night, depending on how my emotions are driving me. It just helps to recognize those feelings and put names to them. And then when you own them and name them, and then you stop living by them, and then you can replace them with, I'm feeling overwhelmed, but God is my peace. Or I'm feeling left out, lonely, but God is my comforter. He is with me. And that's something that I've been working on too, to just live in who God says I am versus who I'm telling myself I am, or who the world is telling me I'm supposed to be.
Yeah, I was just thinking kind of what Sam did. It's this guy look in the mirror and see old dad bod, and then turn straight there. Right?
Yeah.
Right. So again, it's just a perspective change, right?
Yeah.
Right? It's a perspective on where you're at, right?
Yes.
And what you're seeing to what is there.
Yeah, and also acknowledging the feelings, because the feelings are valid, and if you don't acknowledge them, you're just going to bottle them up and then explode, and that becomes really messy for everybody involved.
It does.
Blame it on husband too.
Yeah, pretty much.
It's just a healthier perspective and way to approach it.
Yep.
So.
Yeah, this idea of where do I want to be in a year, I think it's just I want to be just having a more intimate relationship with God. I think that's where I want to see myself in a year. And again, it's the baby steps. And I've been working on those baby steps from the beginning of this year. And part of that was just reading my Bible every day. And it wasn't a matter of let's take the plan and let's read the Bible in a year. That's going to be a ginormous step. It's going to be a lot, and I probably won't accomplish it.
Yeah.
And I'll feel discouraged, and then I'll stop, right? So the baby step was, let's open the YouVersion Bible app. Let's read the verse of the day. Let's get that going each and every day, and we'll just keep doing that, and then we'll add a little bit. So it started out with just the verse of the day. Now we've done a few church Bible plans. So it's been the verse of the day and the plan. And it's just been a slow baby step moving forward, but it's not a task or something I've felt that's been overwhelming. Where in the past I've just jumped in and let's do these big plans. Let's make that didn't work. So the baby steps has really helped. And the mindset of training, not trying has been a huge shift in how I perceive, I guess, my wins, my accomplishments as I'm doing this. And if I miss it, okay, hey, I'm not perfect. I'm still in this training of getting this into that habit, that routine, and that's okay. It's okay to have that grace in those moments where I just forgot. But okay, let's open it now and let's start again, right?
Tomorrow's a new day.
Tomorrow's a new day. So far for me, that's been really good. And that's kind of the steps I'm really trying to take to become more intimately connected. And so the Bible plan's part of it. The next step, I think, is praying regularly. I think that's going to be the next piece to what I'm already doing. The next baby step is just praying. And it can be just a one sentence prayer, but adding one more piece to it, because now this isn't overwhelming. So I can add another piece to add. And again, that's stacking of adding one. You just keep building till all of a sudden, yes, I'm reading the Bible in a year. I'm praying for 10 minutes a day. I'm I'll get there. I'll get there. It's just I can't do that now. But that's okay. Yeah. It's okay.
When you were talking, you're a big Lego guy. What popped into my head was that trying to build a Lego model without taking the different pieces and putting them together page by page, right?
Yeah.
And how much further we can go when we take it step by step, opposed to trying to
just look at the last one and just
have a pile of pieces and let's just put it all together.
Yeah, exactly. That's exactly it. And as we go through that process, it's not like it gets easier, but it's that routine. You're just used to doing it. It's just part of what you do. And
well, and when it becomes a habit, and then there's less decisions that you have to make within it.
It's
just
a decision, right?
When I get in the chair, I pull out my phone. Well, maybe that's not the healthiest decision. When I get in the house, I'll put my phone on my table and then I'll go into the house.
Yep.
And because that's a healthier habit for me.
Yep. So yeah, it's all about those baby steps, stacking and just working at it day by day and little bit by little bit, and not trying to jump into it all at once. Yeah. Because that leads to failure. It leads to the failure. So let us know, guys, maybe what's that look like for you from a year from now? Maybe you want to work on that intimate relationship like I do with God. And maybe that looks like just opening the Bible app, just doing that. Mm-hmm. Maybe the step is looking at how can I create better habits of things I'm already doing? Is there things I can change to make better habits on things that maybe aren't the greatest for me, but I can make some adjustments? Let us know in the comments, guys. What does that look like for you? We would, of course, love to hear from you. Of course, this has come to the end of our time here. The time of, I don't know why time always flies. They always say it flies, but it seems to fly. Flies right out the window as we go through all these questions. But you guys, again, can dive deeper into this with your own life groups. You two friends can be a part of what it is. You can join us. You can bring your life group and watch this with them just to kind of help start that conversation. What does that look like? How do I make this all work? This is kind of how it all works. We have a discussion about the message. So I encourage you guys to do that. Of course, we want to thank you guys again for joining us. Thank the tech team behind us for making this all possible. And I want to thank you guys for joining us today on Talk It Over. And of course, we want to remember, whoever finds God
finds life.